Hi, I'm Phil. This is my shop. We're into part 3 of my shop tour, which seems like a lot because, frankly, my shop isn't all that big. Before getting started on the third part, though, I wanted to address a couple of comments that I've gotten from the other 2 parts of the tour. The first is that considering that my shop is at the back of the garage and is a long, narrow space, why don't I just add a wall here where I can then insulate and keep the space a little bit more temperature and climate controlled, especially as we're heading into winter here in Iowa. To answer that question, the reason is that if I put a wall up, and originally there was one in here, it was taken out before I moved in, and that would really turn this into what feels like a closet, really closing off the shop and eliminating a lot of the sense of open space that I like when I'm out here. The other thing is that these are really the only 2 windows in the shop. These provide a lot of light for the whole garage. And if I close that off, then the garage turns into a much darker, less inviting space to be in. So for all of those reasons, I'm still hoping to be able to upgrade the insulation in the rest of the garage here and balance out some of the other things going on. In the last video, I also talked about how I used this open space behind me as a big work area, and that I would use it with my track saw to break down plywood pieces, as well as long boards for my projects. Now, obviously, an 8x8 space there isn't large enough to maneuver a sheet of plywood, much less move around it enough to be able to break it down. So while yes, I do break down smaller pieces there into their project sizes, when I have full sheets that I need to deal with, I back out one of the cars and I can lay down some foam insulation that I have and lay the sheet on there and then take care of the major breakdown of those pieces at that time. So with those questions addressed, I would love to hear any other questions or comments that you have. Really appreciate all the support for the people who have said that they've liked seeing these videos and seeing what I do in a small space like this. So if you remember back in part 1, we started with a storage unit way at the back. It's the lumber rack, as well as some of my portable power tools I keep back there. And then we moved forward into what I would call like a machinery space where I keep all of my stationary tools. And by stationary, I mean they move around a lot. That includes my bandsaw, the drill press, a small router table, and my thickness planer. The third part here, we're going to move into the control center, keeping with our World War II submarine motif that we've gone on in the main bench space here. I've decided to break this part up into a 4th one just for a little bit of symmetry, where we're going to complete the tour by looking at the forward spaces of the workshop. So let's flip things around and get started. Rigid boundaries defining separate zones in a workshop rarely exist. That's especially true in small shops like mine. But I think that separating the machine area from this area is serving a purpose. And there are some key things that help define that space. For one, the entrance to my workshop is right here. It's just a narrow spot between a small knee wall that I built a number of years ago to keep little kids out of the machine area. And then more of a Les Nessman sort of definition of the rest of the shop wall, where the edge of my flooring is, a tool cart, as well as my ceiling mounted heater and even a ceiling mounted clamp rack help define the space. And that's really important for me, is that I wanted to separate the garage from my workshop as being a special place for the kind of work that I want to do, and a good escape for me mentally. The other thing that helps define this transition zone and blur the edges a little bit is this wall rack. We built it for the TV show, and I moved it in here a couple of months ago. And to be honest, it's still sort of finding its place as to what it needs to hold. I have some clamps on there now. Mostly it's like the recharging station and glue storage. But I have a few other tools on there. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll come down later on. But right now I'm liking the functionality of it. So what else do we see in this space? Well, the big thing are two items. One is obviously my workbench. It's the primary work surface where I'm doing a lot of my work. The other is a large open area. Again, something that helps a small space feel bigger is having as much open floor area as you possibly can. So I have my sawhorses in here. You'll see that, like a lot of shops, and especially small shops, when you're working on multiple projects at once or a big project, little pieces and parts have a tendency to find little nooks and crannies where they're going to stay and end up. And then they kind of clutter up the space. Not very Instagram worthy, but it is the reality of what it's like to work in this particular workshop. Now, my workbench is primarily home, like I said, to a lot of my work, and I keep a lot of tools close by. I have a small shelf underneath the window here for some frequently used tools. I even use the windowsill that I added myself to be able to keep some of my planes, an adjustable bench light, a few other accessories go on either side of the window to help create kind of a nice frame and view, as well as keeping those tools in play. Now, the bench itself has a lot of storage down below. The primary purpose there is to eliminate an open base where I didn't want dust and chips to accumulate, and I didn't want hardware and tools to be able to go rolling underneath. And that served its purpose really well. The drawers keep a lot of the bench work accessories and tools that I need close at hand. You can see some of those in the images that I have here. Now, the real cheat code in a small shop is handheld tools. Those give you a lot of functionality, but don't take up a lot of space. And most of that happens here, whether it's a handheld router or a biscuit joiner or saws, planes, and chisels. All that work happens here. I have a face vise on here, a row of bench dogs along the front, and then a small carving vise that I made, and I attach that to the opposite end of the bench. And that's really proven to be handy for work where it's nice to have it up at a closer to eye level zone because I'm not using a lot of force on it, but it's more of a finesse area for me. The other main feature of this shop space is my tool cart here. And this is more of a home for a lot of my portable power tools. So you'll see like several of my drills. I keep my track saw in there, router bits, the nailer, and my Craig pocket hole jig. All of that stuff that I use right at the bench, so it's going to stay close by. It's also the base for my sharpening station. I keep that out most of the time so that it's ready to go and that I can keep my tools hopefully a little sharper. So I have a little work area for some of the tools and accessories and a little tin for gloves. And then a sharpening box. I've done another video on that we can link to that has what the contents of it are. I use water stones and diamond stones for the most part, just because of the unheated, unconditioned shop space. And that's a really nice platform and stand that helps me keep everything from chisels and planes to my carving tools all organized. If we go back to my submarine analogy, this portion of my workshop is a little bit like the control room, or maybe even the galley a little bit, of what it's like to live in this particular workspace. This wraps up the third section of my shop tour. I've spent a lot of time here on a relatively small space. In the final segment, we're going to talk about the last wall, bookend the whole thing with storage on one side and storage on the other. And I'll talk a little bit about what I have there and why it lives in those places. Thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, or smart remarks, you can put those below. Thanks, everybody.